What's up, guys? Today we're back on the speed run. Today's day number 34. We're gonna get it going. It's time to go. We're 1390 at the moment. We gotta get our rating up. As usual, things never change. I did not change the volume. Now I did change the volume. We'll play the Carol Khan today. We'll go with some Gotham chess style action. E4, C6, D4, D5. The Carol Khan, the classic. Gonna play E6 soon enough. This looks like, okay, it looked like he was going for the Shirov variation, but now he's playing Knight F3. Knight F3 is not supposed to be problematic. Can't remember what to do against it, though. I would assume we could play Bishop B4. I don't know. I would assume so. It's going to be a very weird type of winnower position. Let's play Knight E7 now. Knight will glide into F5. Yeah, the Carol Khan is super solid, but with these games in the speedrun, I'm really just trying to get those quick wins, you know what I mean? Those quick wins. And because I'm trying to get those quick wins, this might not be the best opening for the repertoire. All right, let's take here. My bishop actually looks quite silly now, but it had to go somewhere though. Knight E2 is a good move. C3, I'll move my bishop back to A5. Man plays Knight G3. Play Bishop G6. I'm going to be playing for C5 soon. I'm not sure about this Knight G3 move. Knight G3 is a really weird move. Let's, this is interesting. This guy's playing, he's playing okay. I'm always a bit suspicious because of what happened a few episodes ago with the cheater. But, you know, you never know. I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I will be sending this game along with the other files to my friend Vlad for the procedure. He'll be able to identify exactly what's going on. Okay, we'll take here. Structure looks a bit weird, but the structure is actually normal for Slav structures. Bishop is a bit weird though. Preferably my bishop should be off the board, but the idea is I'm going to play G5 soon enough. His knights don't really have anywhere to go. I really need to figure out what I'm doing with this bishop though. This bishop is not good where it is. It's just pointed into a brick wall at the moment. I should probably play Bishop B6 and then C5. I would look to play C5 immediately. The problem with that though is that then they'll take, I'll take back with the knight, and they'll hit me with B4, which would not be fun. B4 hits C5, hits A5. We're in a lot of trouble. It's time to go. Okay, well that just blunders a piece. I'm playing G5, I'm taking. I'm walking. Queen E8, get the queen out of the pin. Gonna install the knight on F5. There is nothing to worry about here. We'll play Bishop D8, trade the bishops off. Game should be over soon enough. It's time to go. Queen G6 is also going to be very strong. This bishop is really in the cabbage patch. This bishop is caught what is it? Caught red-handed in the cabbage patch. Yeah, I don't even know what he's going to do. He has to try F4 just to try to lock the game up, but it's really not going to work. It's time to go.
FTV Claude, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked.
It's time to go!
Wise words from Claude. Okay, if I play C5 immediately, he takes, knight takes, and still that B4 move hits. Let's just drop the bishop back first. I also have ideas now of knight takes E5, F takes, and maybe this bishop would be hanging in some positions. We gotta be careful about how we do it though. All right, well now I really like Queen G6. The idea is that if Rook H3, I can finally take, he takes back, and then I play Rook takes G5. No tricks. All right, we have the trick. Takes. Should be the end of the game. Takes back, Rook takes G5. Gonna win several pawns here. Queen H3, I can force a trade of queens with Rook H5. That should definitely be enough. I could also just snatch another pawn with Rook takes E5. Way too many tricks in the air here. Way too many tricks in the air, and it's time to go.
It's time to go! Whatever, it's time to go now! Whatever.
We gotta get it moving. I'm excited though, we're gonna finally break 1400. I honestly, I want to get done with this speedrun. I have a lot of ideas for things I could be doing with this chess channel. I definitely want to keep leaning into the bird. I love the bird. The bird is always going to be a mainstay of this channel. But at the same time, you know, like, I can't only be doing speedruns for the rest of my life. I gotta move on to something else. So I calculated it. I would assume we'll finish the speedrun to 2500 maybe by like September. No, not by September, by like October. It's gonna take a very long time. What are we gonna do here? Just start by playing rook f5. Let's just start trading. Depending on where the queen moves, we'll either trade the rook or just snatch this pawn. I can also finally bring this rook in. Yeah, this game is pretty much over here. Pretty basic Caro-Kann, honestly. Not really anything to remark about. Unremarkable, to say the least. But, yeah. Game looks fine. Just waiting him out. He's going there. Could definitely take on e5 here, but I think simplest is just rook f8. Just trading off several pieces. Trading off several pieces, it's time to go. I had a long day. I recorded... well, this is the first video I'm actually recording for YouTube. I edited 2 videos, taught a lot of lessons, went to the gym. I'm really excited about my bench press. My bench press is going up in weight. I'm consistently able to bench now like 90 kilos. Technically 88, but we'll round up to 90. But yeah, regardless, 90 kilos. I never thought I'd see the day where I could bench 90 kilos. In the past, I used to get limited. I used to come up at like an upper threshold of like 130 pounds. 130 pounds is something like 55 kilos. 55, 60 kilos, yeah. So it's exciting being able to make progress. I just can't speak anymore. It's exciting to be able to make progress in the fitness arena. I want to get swole and fit. Yeah, my ultimate goal is to be able to bench, I don't know, like 250. 250 would be good. 250 pounds, I mean, not 250 kilos. So the equivalent of that would be like 115 kilos. I'm getting up there, I'm getting close. It's gonna happen sooner or later. Let's play bishop a5, just break through here. If this pawn budges for whatever reason, we'll play bishop e1. Once I pick up this pawn, I can pick up d4 and e5. Nice, we got the win. Let's keep going. Very, very bad. Playing this gentleman here. Honestly, what is this luck? We start with 2 blacks. 2 blacks, not very fun. We'll go with the perk. I guess I'll alternate between these 4 moves going forward. It's time to go. Let's play e5. This honestly just looks like a very boring position, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna see what happens. Castle. All right, just continuing to play. Continuing to play simply. I'll probably put my bishop on e6 at some point. When you get your bishops on e6 and c4 eyeing each other, you often have this knight e4 trick. The idea being that if they take with the d-pawn, you would take with the bishop. Meanwhile, of course, if they take with the knight, you can make a fork with d5. All right, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. He might take. He might take, but he might not. And we're about to find out. What is he gonna do? Knight g5. Interesting stuff. This guy's playing for keeps. Very weird position at the moment. His structure looks a little ugly, but at the same time, my bishop is very misplaced in accordance with where it should be. Bishop should be out here. I'll play knight d7. We're getting the knight out of the way. I'm attacking this knight, and I'm slowly playing for this f5 break. This is the classic way to handle these positions. My knight will reroute either to c5, or it will even reroute to e6. Both of these look good. What is that about? Queen g4. It's a tricky move. Just play knight d4 though, attack this pawn. It's weak now. I always tell my students this, if they move the queen, then c2 actually becomes a pretty big weakness. c2 is not that easy to defend in most positions. He's in a lot of trouble. I guess he thought that he had some type of mate threat here, but at the moment, nothing is happening. He has to put his queen either here or here for there to be a mate threat. And come to think of it, that would just lose. So he has to try something like queen h5. Dude is in a lot of trouble. He can't move his queen back now because his knight is already going to be hanging. But what's he going to do? Knight d5? All right. He's going there. Let's just take the pawn. I don't see the issue just yet. We'll move the knight back. Still no threats. We snatched a pawn. Could play f5 later if we want. Probably should play c6 sooner or later. He takes, we take. Still no tricks. Gonna move the knight to c5 sooner or later. Knight comes to c5, pressures all of the light squares. Knights there would form an enormous apparatus. Really fantastic apparatus there. Knight f3. Let's play knight f6. Hit the queen, hit the pawn. Queen is in a bit of a pickle now. If queen holds on to the knight, it's going to have to drop the pawn. Of course, you could play queen h4, but then I can take and completely ruin the structure. Well, here we get the check. That's it. It's time to go. It's time to go, everybody. 1406. Everyone give yourselves a pat on the back. We did it. We're 1400. We're on our way up, and we'll be 1500 in no time. 1400, we're already way more than halfway on the way to 2500. It's exciting news. Exciting and big news for the bird. Okay, the classic setup. E6 is not nearly as bad a system as it looks. It's very positional, very flexible. Going with the classic queenside fianchetto. Of course, we're waiting with this bishop check. Do not throw the bishop check in when they can play c6. This is not the way to do it. Bishop c5, well, that looks a bit strange. That's not really going to work. Here, we definitely could try more standard things, but I really like g4. If he takes, we just play rook g1 and immediately start attacking him. I would assume if he takes, he's dead lost, because rook g1, the knight has to move. Oh, I guess he could move back. I didn't realize that. I didn't process that, embarrassingly. I thought that he had to move somewhere else, and then we were just going to be able to break through on g7. Suffice it to say, though, actually, I think that white should have very good compensation, though, nonetheless. We'll play knight g5. We're going to play knight c3, queen f3, queen h3, attack h7. And we have every reason to be confident here. There's so many pieces pointing at him. In these types of situations, he needs to be able to buffer the danger zone with d4, but he doesn't have a pawn on c5, so that's not going to work that well. Let's play knight c3. I want to be able to meet d4 with knight e4. A very uncomfortable position for him at the moment. This knight is his best defender, so I would prefer to trade that off for this this knight here, which thereto has not been doing anything to help attack his king side. He's going there. He's going there. All right, he's going to play knight g4. He's playing for knight g4. This trickster. The trickster is playing for knight g4. We'll play knight a4. Unload on the e-pawn. I'm not sure about what he's up to now. To be honest, I'm a bit confused. Up until now, he's been playing a very logical, very clean game. I sacked a pawn and I got some initiative. You know what it is. And it seems he really fumbled it in the face of the bird initiative. He's playing bishop h4. Tricky guy. Bishop h4 would be quite annoying. Bishop h4, because if we take, then he takes and he's forking my king and my bishop. What am I going to do? Can I just play e6? E6 looks pretty feisty. It looks feisty, but is it the best? E6, the idea is if bishop h4, I can just play king f1 and I'm threatening this. I'm going to go for it. It looks like bird mayhem. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We're going for it. One of the main ideas is that if bishop f6, I think I can play knight g5. And very importantly, my pawn is blocking the bishop. So I think I don't know. I think this works. If he plays f6, then I can take. His bishop is hanging. So how is he going to defend this pawn? I guess he could play g6. Yeah, actually, if he plays g6, I would have been embarrassed. I don't think I had anything after g6. It would have just been a very bad tactical display there. I would have had to cash out for some type of equality. But here on the other hand, now we're in business. I think knight g5 is super interesting. Knight g5, the idea is bishop takes, we play queen h5, then he plays h6. What is going to be the plan after knight g5? Knight g5, bishop takes, queen h5. Yeah, h6 holds everything. h6 holds everything together. We could play h4 there. This looks like a mess. Oh wait, what am I talking about? How long did I have this? I'm literally calculating this position out, trying to break through on h7, assuming I couldn't break through on g7, but that's ridiculous. I had a forced mate. I didn't even realize it. He goes here, I take, it's double check, he goes back, and I mate. What am I thinking about, man? This is what happens when you work 12-hour workdays. I just forgot very basic things. But okay, anyway, the good news is I saw it in the end. We're up to 14-13. Yeah, I was just locked in a tunnel there. I was just locked in a vacuum of tunnel vision. I could not make heads from tails. Okay, so this is in one of the updates to my course. If you want to avoid this 2 bishop g4 move, by the way, while they're updating my course, feel free to just avoid it by just playing e3 move 2. If you play e3 move 2, I don't think there's any difference. You would play knight f3 next. You're going to get to all the same positions that are recommended in my course, and you avoid this 2 bishop g4 trickery. Dude plays knight f6. Let's play h3. He takes. We're going to take back. All right. And if he plays e6, we have an interesting move, knight c3, d4. That should not be good. We're just going to start snacking on pawns. Not a good idea, bruv. I'll just take more pawns. I'm going to play c3 next. I got 2 extra pawns. Knight b6. Let's throw in a check. His light scores are really weak here. Yeah, that's the really insane thing. I'm down several tempi, but you know, okay, actually I think I have a really cool move here. I want to play f5. There's definitely no need to play a move like f5, but it looks so cool. He could play g6. It wouldn't really change anything. I guess we'll just castle first just to be responsible, but yeah, because I have the bishop here and because he has like several light score weaknesses due to the fact that he's lost these 2 natural light scored pawns, white should just be completely winning here. White is up material with a positional advantage. c4 with c5 should end everything. It's time to go. Rook slices through the king side. It's his king that's in trouble here. Move the queen back to e4. We're threatening queen e6. Too many tricks. c5 is coming. It's time to go. All right, we'll just take here. If he takes back, I'm going to take again. He's dropping too many pawns. It's time to go.
Time to go.
14-13. Let's get up to 14-50 today. Nice. 14-21. Let's go. Let's get it. Already gained 30 points. Only 19 minutes in. Let's get another 20 points. All right, we'll play e5 here. f3, knight c6. Standard stuff. Knight c3, knight f6. This is the 4 knights. Some 4 knights mayhem currently in the building. Takes. Okay, so we're transposing into a Scotch game. This is a cool idea. You can just take here. This is really hyper theory. I never realized that this was a move. I used to always think you had to play bishop b4 here, but actually, yeah, knight takes e4 is completely fine. The main idea being if they take here, you're going to play queen e7 and immediately win your knight back. They take, we take. This is the desperado thing. Whoever takes last wins. He's going to take my queen. He'll take my queen and I'll take his. The old cowboy standoff, if there ever was one. He has to take, I take, and then he has to start taking more. He has to take that, I take this. He takes my rook, I take his rook. From what I remember, he has a way to still be equal here. Okay, well that's a big mistake, because now I take and I'm up a really critical pawn. He's not going to be able to get that pawn back. Because it's his move in this position, he's slightly ahead in development, but that's not going to matter. We're up a very big pawn here. Queen f3. What to do after queen f3? Let's play bishop c5. I'm going to put the queen on e7 with a check. Unless he plays bishop e2, I'd be pretty impressed if he plays bishop e2. That's a pretty high level move, if you ask me. Okay, he did not do it. We're throwing in the check. He wants to trade queens. We're fine with that. Up a pawn in the ending. This is even better. I'm just trading and ruining his structure. It's time to go. Gonna castle here. So how should I set my pawns up? If I don't want to drop this pawn, of course, but I can't play c5 because this rook is hanging. Pawns eventually need to be on these squares to complement my bishop. Bishop is a light squared bishop. We should be aiming to put the pawns on dark squares. Very tough position for him at the moment. He has several weaknesses and he's down a pawn. He's trying to checkmate me. Not going to happen, sir. I could have taken this first. That would have been better. I'm playing a bit too sloppy at the moment. Playing a bit too tricky. A bit too recklessly. One of these days I'm going to lose a game. I'm still waiting to hear back from chess.com. They didn't give me the points. Maybe they saw my report but thought it was groundless. Very upsetting stuff. I want my points. All right. I could definitely play c5 here. d5 is also okay, despite it putting a lot of pawns on light squares. It's not the end of the world to do something like that, but c5 is simpler. I do need to watch out for rook f3, rook h3, though. So if he plays rook f3, it's important to start with d6. The bishop is keeping an eye on h3. He cannot play rook f4 on account of queen takes e3. h4. Dude is going for it. Okay, now I think, now it's probably best just to play d5. This technically breaks the rule I just discussed, but I want to play c4 and push this bishop back. He goes there. He goes there. What a cheeky guy. Can we just play queen h4 here? c4 takes. That's a bit cheeky. That's a bit too cheeky for my taste. Play queen h4, rook f4. Doesn't really work. g5 is so close to working. The only problem is that's mate. If that wasn't mate, that would be great. No, I guess here I can play c4. c4 is so close to working, but I'm just not sure about takes. Takes gets pretty risky. All right, I would assume rook b6 is best, actually. Yeah, rook b6, just keeping an eye on everything. If he takes, I could just take with the pawn. And yeah, there are literally no tricks there. Rook is covering everything. If he doesn't do anything, I'm going to play c4, boot the bishop out, and then play g5, and the queen is trapped. So we got a lot to look forward to. We got the classic Boutros Ghali.
His name be none other than my man, Boutros Ghali.
I had a very tiring day at work. Yeah, I'm really excited for this channel though. The sub numbers are only slightly growing, but I'm really not stressed. I think that I got a lot of interesting ideas in the pipeline. I got a bunch of sweet ideas in the pipeline, a bunch of dope videos that are being produced. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm optimistic about where we're headed. We have time on our side, as they say. He wants to take here. Let's play c4. If he takes, I can block with another threat. Has to play bishop e2, but if he plays bishop e2, then I can play bishop f5 without issue. Should probably... Okay, he blundered it. Bishop e6. People blunder this type of thing a lot. They like taking with the check. They don't realize that I have a block. And notice that just in general, I'm always putting my pieces on really well-defended squares. Like this rook is completely protected here. He cannot move this queen out of the way. For instance, somewhere like here and threaten the rook. All right, I mean, he is in a lot of trouble. I'm quite excited for tonight, actually. You know, after I record these videos, I got a big bottle of Coca-Cola waiting in the fridge. Tasty bottle of Coca-Cola. I'm gonna guzzle it down. I'm a really thirsty boy tonight. Yeah, now that the bird course is finished, now that the updates are done and I don't need to bash my head against the chess-based program day after day, Life is really turning around. Life is really starting to look wonderful. All right. Bishop f5 looks good enough. He gets one check, I'll block. Happily block, trade the queens. Actually, I'm looking at it now, trading the queens is not that simple. He'll play rook f1, he's got this blob of pawns here. That has to be winning in several different ways, but it's better to keep the queens on the board. With the queens on the board, as soon as my pieces get active enough, I'm just going to be able to deliver checkmate. He's taken there. We're taken here. His queen is locked out. He's really going to be suffering now. He is definitely in the dragon's den here. If he plays rook d1, I have this cool move. Queen g3, I'm threatening this. He cannot take the bishop on account of rook b1 mate. Bro is in serious trouble at the moment. Yeah, I'm at such an interesting time in my life. I'm putting so much effort and time into so many different ventures. And it's one of those things where you just need to be patient, right? Like, of course, like the Chessable course, all these other things, the amount of money I'm going to make from them is so small right now, like in terms of the money that I can see coming in, compared to the actual value that it's going to bring to society long term. And just what I mean by that is that everyone needed to go through this stage, whether it's building a YouTube or building a Chessable brand, or building a skill set to edit videos. And yeah, it's just something that I need to pass through. The Portuguese have a cool word for this. It's called ultrapassar. And it means to just overcome. You just need to get over this hurdle. And again, I don't want any boohoos in the comments. I'm really enjoying myself right now. But I do need to consistently remind myself that the reason I'm putting in 12-hour days, it is going to turn into something that like brings me money or more influence or more impact in one way or another. Like, for instance, with the YouTube, where I'm going with this, like where this ramble is headed is that, like, at least with the YouTube, like every single YouTuber has had to pass through this portion where they're in between 1 and 10K, they're starting to get viewers, but at the same time, they still need to just put their head down and keep grinding. All right, the queen does not have any checks at the moment. Let's play rook b8. Queen has to go back to a4, and then I'll play c4, lock the queen out. Bishop is fantastic here. c4. Yeah, I've been reading this really interesting book on finance. It's actually shockingly good. Probably for the past 5 years, I've been reading books on finance, and like there are a lot of interesting books. I think I read by far the best one recently. It's called The Millionaire Fast Lane by this guy MJ DeMarco, and it's just incredible. Essentially, like he talks about the fact that if you want to, there is no such thing as getting rich easy, but there is a thing as getting rich quick. I'm not going to go into the details. I'll link like a synopsis of the book somewhere in this video, because tons of people have already reviewed the book. I can't do it any more justice than the reviews I've already seen of it on Amazon. Not on Amazon, sorry, on YouTube. Fantastic book, though. Really opened my eyes to what I need to ultimately be aiming for. Yeah, it's just very interesting. Extremely interesting stuff. At the moment, I have a really nice job. I'm teaching chess. I'm giving people chess lessons, but it's not something I want to do forever. And there is going to come a time when I plan on having a family in which I might not be able to devote 4, 5, 6 hours to teaching every day. So, you know, I got to think ahead. I got to think strategically. Yeah, really incredible book, though. Literally, I read it once. I listened to the entire audiobook. The whole audiobook is like 10 hours. I listened to it in like a day and a half. And immediately after, I just listened to it again. Very interesting, thought-provoking stuff. Like the TLDR of it is that you just need to try to make yourself extremely useful to society. And if you can do that and solve problems that are really... If you could figure out a way to solve problems that are really affecting people's lives negatively and just figure out a way to make their lives better and do that on a massive scale that is not tied to time, you can reap major profits. Let's take this pawn here. Attack the rook. Yeah, I don't talk about it much, but I really like reading. I'm a really big reader. One of the drawbacks to my currently fast-paced life is that I have to sort of move away from reading all the time. But yeah, in the past I would read like 2-3 hours a day, either with audiobooks, with Kindle. I also just carry an assortment of books. I carry way too many books, honestly. I need to start throwing them out. I have like an entire suitcase full of books, and it weighs me down wherever I travel. So I'm trying to gradually like just give the books away, and it's been something that I've really been doing with intention of just, as soon as I finish a book or read it, I find someone to either give it to, or I donate it to a library, or worst comes to worst, I literally just leave it on the side of the road. The sad life of a book in my collection. All right, we're just trading everything. Gonna make a queen. Yeah, I got an enormous amount of tricks for reading books and everything. Like, one thing that I've been doing is, you know, I'm trying to master all these different languages. So any language that I already sort of have a grasp of, I just buy books that I've been planning on reading, but in that language. So I have several interesting books in Spanish. I have some books I was always planning on reading in Portuguese. I got some books in French, though I've never gotten around to learning French. I know only the very basics. Je seulement sais un peu. I only know a tiny bit. Okay, this is very weird. Knight c6, e6, bishop c5. We'll just get a full center with d4. c3, perfect position. We're going to go for bingo. All right, yeah, we're definitely going for bingo here. And by bingo, I mean the 4 pawns straight in the center. Of course, I wanted to play c4 immediately. The problem with c4 immediately is that it drops this pawn here. Knight ce7, let's play c4. I really want to play c5. I want to play c5, I can't, though. c5, he's going to play bishop a5 and sort of get out. Whatever, though, we'll go for it. Oh, come on, that can't be good. He had to play bishop a5. Why am I surprised, though? This guy's name is Yoho. Am I right? It rhymes with bozo. You can't have, your name can't rhyme with bozo and you be able to get away with it. That's just not how it works. It's not going to happen. Things aren't looking good for you if your name rhymes with bozo. At least not on chess.com. Okay, let's play e5. I'm just drilling in. This is literally like a space taker's paradise. This is such a sad position, honestly. Dude, how can anyone live this way? I'm not even joking. How can anyone live this way? Like, this is getting to the point of just being too painful to even play against. I'll play bishop d3. Yeah, black has to be losing a million different ways here. I have b6, for instance. It's a really cool idea. If he takes, I'm going to take this way. He has not solved his problems at all. He still has 10 to 15 terrible pieces. This is an atrocious position. We're just going to castle queenside, play f6, and play for checkmate. He castles here, we play f6, he finally takes, and I just play knight g5. All right, here queen d2 looks simplest. He should take. He desperately has to take. He takes, I take. That is also completely winning, though. All right, we're playing queen h6 here. If he takes with the knight, I'll take. He takes with the queen. I mean, he's sort of surviving, actually. This isn't nearly as... No, we have knight g5 here. Sorry, knight g5. He's going to take several things, but I'm going to checkmate at the end. At the end of the day, it's checkmate. He takes, I go here. He takes this pawn, and then I play rook takes f6. Queen h7 is going to be mate. The much simpler version of this would have just been to take the knight and be happy being up a piece, but I really wanted to end this game with a nice spellbinding checkmate. All right, takes here. Queen h7. Rook e8 is the only move to give him even a little bit of respite, but takes here, and that's going to be mate. All right, so we'll end day number 34 here. We're currently at 1437. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm going to stay here sitting in the seat to record another of these episodes. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye then.